Joe Biden takes office as president of the United States tomorrow. He is proposing a fairly radical immigration overhaul. Mike Howell currently serves as senior advisor for executive branch relations at the Heritage Foundation. Prior to joining Heritage, he was part of the Department of Homeland Security's Office of General Counsel. Mike, thanks so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
So what exactly are the proposals that Biden is putting forward? How radical are they?
Well, as we well know, this is the most divisive issue perhaps in all of America. They're going for the most extreme and radical solution. Kamala Harris went on Univision last week, the largest Spanish-speaking news network, and she laid out what they're going to do. They're going to propose a bill to Congress. It's going to do one more than any previous, lefty administrations ever tried to do. Usually they want to just delay consequences for those illegally in the country. What they want to do is give everyone green cards, and so put them on a path towards citizenship. Why? Because they want to make new voters because they think they'll vote for them. It's all part of the broader effort to permanently take control of the Senate through adding new states, adding the filibuster, packing the courts, etc. Another thing they want to do, there's this thing called temporary protected status. It's where people who are in the country, if they're here illegally, but their home country gets hit by, say, a hurricane, they get what's called TPS. The big joke about TPS, it's never really temporary. Some of TPS is going on for decades. What they want to do is take everyone in TPS, give them a green card. So basically, we're rewarding illegal aliens. It's not just about not punishing them now. It's about giving them the benefit of membership in the greatest country of the world. All this is going to happen while they keep the borders wide open. They're going to seek to end this Remain in Mexico program Trump had set up, where people, waiting their asylum claims, waiting in Mexico instead of being released in their country, never to show up for their hearings. What that means is it's going to be open season. The caravan's already coming. The Biden administration is already working with the caravans to time it. Their senior advisor for Western Hemisphere policy in the White House came out the other day and said, don't come now. What does that mean? That means come later. Come later when, we're ready to take you all in. So they're working with the caravans. They're shutting down Border Patrol and ICE. And they're letting everyone in the country stay and giving them goodies for doing it.
So, Mike, one of the things that they've been saying in the Biden team is that don't come now because January 1st is the cutoff date. If you were here before January 1st, then you might be subject to this automatic green card. But if you come after January 1st, then you won't be subject to the automatic green card. It seems like the migrants are not paying attention to this because their assumption is, okay, we'll come after January 1st. And then what are they going to do with us? Deport us?
Yeah, exactly. They know this well. A lot of the people in the caravans and organizing it and the NGOs that fund this kind of stuff, they understand American law better than a lot of us do. I mean, they're chanting Biden, Biden, Biden at the border. They know everything that's going on. There's no way when people show up afterwards that they're still going to deport them. They're going to seek to permanently shut down the deportation machine to the extent it even exists. ICE doesn't deport nearly as many people as folks think. Most illegal aliens are here for the long run, and they're not going to step up enforcement on that whatsoever. So if you get in, you're staying in all likelihood, and they know that.
So the Biden administration also claims that by giving people temporary status that 5 years down the road we'll evaluate whether they've been good or bad, and then we will decide whether they get to stay here permanently. Have they explained why there's this 5-year delay as opposed to evaluating right now whether people should be staying here for the next 5 years?
No, they have not. There's a huge lobbying effort that's been going on for decades on part of those who hold temporary protected status. And a lot of the congressmen and senators from the areas in which they're so-called settled are huge advocates, and they're why it constantly gets delayed. When the Trump administration tried to end TPS for some countries, as you expect, liberal judges jumped in and said it violated the law, which is absurd, that the executive branch can't make a determination as to end its own temporary program that's been going on for, decades. So once these programs start, like all programs, it's the hardest thing to get rid of in, the government. It's going to stay. It's just another means for abusing a humanitarian program for mass migration. It's just like the asylum program. These are all vectors to get people in the country and to permanently upset, the voting demographics of the country so that red states turn blue. That's the big goal, flip Texas blue.
So, Mike, final question for you. How much of this is going to be done through executive action? How much of this has to be done through the legislative process? And can it get done through the legislative process, given, let's assume that the filibuster stays in place for the moment?
Okay, so if you want to grant citizenship to new people and the right to vote, that's got to go through the legislator, and they're going to push for that on day one. But if you want to just turn off the Department of Homeland Security, essentially, he can do that with the wave of a wand. If you want to just open the borders, that doesn't require any changes of the law. That just requires not enforcing them. So he'll violate his duty to take care to execute, his oath of office faithfully, essentially. Just like Obama did with DACA and sanctuary cities, they'll just stop, there. And so the legislation, I fear that, with the new Senate makeup, it does have a chance. There's a lot of folks, even, on the right who want a solution for these DACA, people in the DACA program. And that's going to be bundled into this larger, biggest amnesty in the history of America. This is the biggest amnesty in our history. It'll be the biggest change to our country, in our lifetimes. And there's a reason they want to do it. And then there's also a reason we should push back very, very hard to not let it happen.
Mike Howell, currently Senior Advisor for Executive Branch Relations at the Heritage Foundation. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.